All right, there we go. Let's get started with the project here. Today, we're going to study the geometry of a star. Um, if you try by yourself to maybe just draw, I don't know if you've ever done that, but in school, at least out here, they teach us that you can draw stars, or at least very similar shapes of stars, by crossing those lines in this way. This is kind of helpful for what we're trying to build, at least to visualize a few geometries within a star and how we can make that parametric in a way that we can have perfect symmetry in our star, in a way that we can change a few numbers and make it completely parametric. I'm going to move this star to the side here, but we're going to still use it to study a few things. We can see that we have um, geometry. It's a pentagon on the middle here. I think it's the pentagon, the one that has five um, sharp corners. I don't quite remember the word for that in English. And then we have on the top here um, another one, but in a different orientation. And I'm going to show you that. If you go for polygon on the create section and open the circumscribed polygon, we can click, for example, here in the center and drag our mouse to the top here. And then we have a hexagon, right? If we press tab, we're going to swap between the numbers. And I have two measures here available for me. One of them is to change the radius of my hexagon, and the other changes the number of edges that I have on this body. In this case, I'm looking for a 4, 1. And when I make it, sorry, not 4, 5. When I make it 5, you can notice that we start to get some symmetry in here. The amount of connections, the way they connect when you make them closer. We start to notice that we have a geometry that we can use as a guide for us to build this. But this is not perfect yet um, because we still need to make some changes. We could just go straight here and connect those dots just like that. And let me make this one a coincidence. So we click here and here. And this also works. But the way that you can get better results and have more control over the geometry that you are building is by actually building those pentagons by yourself first, and then after add those lines. So you can have full control of the dimensions of your pentagon, the internal one, the external one, so you have full control of that. So in order for us to do that, we're gonna go for create polygon, circumscribed polygon. We always start building from the center. That's why I move my star here to the left, because I need this area open for me. And I'm gonna press tab to make it a 5 um, edges geometry. And I'm going to define its radius to a very small one because I know that we're going to apply that into a pen shell after. So we need it to be small. So I'm going to make it like a 2.5. Probably, yeah, 2.5 is actually fine. And I need to make it the most straight I can. All right. And I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to press L and X for a construction line. And I'm going to build a vertical line here that I'm going to use just as reference for us. I'm going to define this line here horizontal, so it's perfectly aligned there. And now all I need to do is create another um, polygon here, another pentagon with the geometry that I have. Let me check if it is correct. I think it should be angled. Let me just double check. Yes, it should be angled. So we're gonna build it in this angle here. And then we're gonna define the outer radius of it of 3 millimeters. Actually, it should be more. We need to make it, let's make it 5 for now and we reduce it after. So now we have this pentagon here. We can see that it is not aligned. We can just click in horizontal and let's make it horizontal. Compare um, to this line here with the orangey. Okay, it's not letting me, so let's make it coincident. This end here with this line that I just draw. Can I actually do the opposite? If I select this one first and then this one. No, let me reverse. Then let's drag the tip of my um, hexagon, of my pentagon, sorry, here, vertical, and I'm going to also define this line as vertical. All right, so now we have those two measures in here, and I can just connect my lines here. Let me disable the construction mode. Let me connect those lines. Yeah, so after connecting the lines, we can change a few measures in here. So for example, I'm gonna make it, I decided that I want to make it smaller. So I'm gonna make it 1.5 millimeters, and this one is gonna be 3 millimeters. So we can create the geometry in that way. Of course, you don't need to make it always half. I can go here and make it like 1, by example, or let's find like 1.5. So you can control this geometry in a way that you can calibrate. Now we have like an almost perfect star, right? And just calibrating those two numbers. So there are plenty of ways of making the same thing. I decided to show you two of them today. I'm gonna proceed and do the same scenario that you're gonna use this, which is in a band shell, and I'm just gonna do what we already know from previous classes. I'm gonna make it, I think it was a 5 millimeters. Yeah, if I'm not wrong. It's a 5 millimeters outer shell. And I'm gonna move, as a good habit, we always make our um, profile here be right on the edge of our sketch, all right? So it should be like that. And also, I'm gonna move my body here a couple millimeters down so we can have it perfectly aligned there. So I'm going to select as an extrusion, pressing E, my star here. And the idea is that it gets a taper angle as it goes inside. So by just adjusting the angle to -5, for example, we can create that desired effect of the star shape, right? And now we need to um, make as a circular pattern. Let's, let's make it as a circular pattern. There we go. Now, if it is possible for the geometry, or which in this case it is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a construction plane here going offset. I'm going to create those planes into the limits of my geometry here. Those planes that I just created are very easy to do. You just need to go here for this button, which says offset plane. You select a start point. So for example, if I want to draw a line on the bottom of this star, as I just did, and in the top of this star, I need first to find an initial plane to start working with. I have this bottom of my cylinder, which happens to work just perfectly because I can click on it and just move my arrow above, and then it's gonna allow me to place it exactly what I want to. And we're gonna use those planes to make a split body. So we're gonna select split body, select our body. We're gonna go for as splitting tools, we're gonna select both of them. And pressing enter, we now have our ring in here. And that way we can cope, right? My microphone is back. So we can copy the ring up. See, let me hide this. And also rotate it after. So if we want to make it stagger as it goes up. So let me rotate it like that. We can see already a preview. That's one way of doing that. Let's make it like 32 degrees. Actually, let's do the opposite. Let me see how many stars do we have. We have six. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna select my upper ring, the one I just copied. I'm gonna set my pivot around my shell, and I'm gonna rotate it to any direction here a little bit so we can lock and see my numbers. And I'm gonna make it 360 divided by 6. Let's see what is the angle that we got here. I don't think it actually did anything. Let me check one more time. So let me try rotating. So let's check how much is the number that I just came up with. So let's 360 divided by 6, and it's 60 degrees. So let's see when we rotate. Oh, of course. Yeah, I forgot to disable the set pivot here. So let's try one more time. 360 divided by 6. Mm, let's try by, let's double this number and take the 12. Yeah. So I don't know if you understood my mathematics here, but it just worked. I multiply by 2 the number of divisions that I'm getting. I imagine if I divide it by 3, I may have the same result. No. So yeah, it is my logic. I took the number of samples that I have and I multiply it by 2 during the division, and it happens to collect the middle of these stars and align them perfectly. So that's a way of doing that. What I need to do now is I actually need to remove a lot of material from this so I can multiply those stars along my entire path. And what I'm gonna leave is just a small part here. And basically I now have my bottom, I have my two patterns, and I need to reproduce them from here to here, right? So how I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go a rectangular pattern, and I'm gonna select both my rings. Let me check my microphone is working, yes. And as axis, I can select my orange in here, the blue line, for vertical reference. And then I'm gonna move this body here till it reaches the top limiter, just like that. I can go a little bit after if that's okay for the numbers. And I'm gonna increase this number till I have a full cylinder. I believe we got it. Let me reduce. Now we have a small spacing. All right, there we go. Now we have it. And now all I have to do is select as a combine here one of them and do a box selection and press enter. All right, so using the combine, you're gonna mix everything together here. So that's pretty much it. Um, that's how you can make those designs and patterns. That looks very cool. Um, and yeah, let me know if you have any more questions.